They were seen as people with virility.
This heady combination of sex and violence pervaded Roman society. Only a few were brave enough to criticize the established views. Saint Augustine, the great Christian thinker, described the reaction of one of his students attending the games.
When he saw the blood, it was as though he had drunk a deep draught of savage passion. Instead of turning away, he fixed his eyes upon the scene and drank in all its frenzy, unaware of what he was doing. He reveled in the wickedness of fighting and was drunk with the fascination of bloodshed. When he left the arena, he carried away with him a diseased mind which would leave him no peace until he came back again. No longer as one of the group which had first dragged him there, but as their leader, taking new sheep to the slaughter.
Scholars have estimated that more than 700,000 people perished in the Colosseum. Gladiators, criminals, soldiers, ordinary men, women, and even children were condemned. All died publicly, their bodies carried through the gates of the grandest arena in the Roman Empire, just to keep the masses entertained. But this spectacle of death could not last forever. Nearly 2,000 years after its inauguration, the Colosseum still attracts 2 million visitors every year. The crowd still drawn by its grandeur and chilling reputation. The ruins that capture their imagination, ravaged by earthquake and architectural looting, represent only 33% of the Colosseum's original size. $500,000 tons of travertine rock, bound together by 300 tons of wrought iron, created its imperious facade and interior strength. Today, the raw materials to build the Colosseum would cost £200 million. Add to that the costs of labor and transport, and the total is closer to $500 million. While the empire flourished, so too did the Colosseum. 42 emperors exploited the arena to win favor with the masses, each in turn striving to outdo his predecessor.
I think there's a comparison between what the emperors try to do without doing each other with the most amazing games, and sort of the way the studios try to come up with the greatest blockbuster, the most amazingly affected movie. I know that when Trajan got back from his Dacian Wars, he had spectacular games that went on for a long time. About 5,000 exotic animals, I think, were slaughtered, and he probably outdid just about everyone of his day.
But the fate of the empire and the Colosseum were inextricably linked. When the empire declined and revenues from the dominions dried up, the financial burden of the games grew heavier. In contrast, Christianity flourished, even though persecution of the new religion was widespread and brutal. Many died in the Colosseum's arena itself, but martyrdom only strengthened the faith. Saint Ignatius, one of the first Christian martyrs to die here, wrote before reaching the Colosseum,
"The whole way from Syria to Rome, chained as I am to 60 soldiers who only grow more insolent the more bribes they are given, how I look forward to the real lions that have been prepared for me. All I pray is that I will find them swift. I am going to make overtures to them so that they may devour me with all speed."
The young religion and its followers turned their backs on the bloodletting of pagan Rome. The voices of dissent grew in number and volume, challenging the certainties that had made the Colosseum the heart of Roman culture. Today, a cross commemorates the Christian martyrs who died here, but their greatest tribute may be their contribution to the demise of the Colosseum and the Games.
No one really knows why the game stopped, but in the 4th century, the Romans had to defend the empire against a huge onslaught of Persians on the one hand and barbarians on the other, and it must have been very difficult in those circumstances to get the same level of munificence as before. And in addition, the empire had become Christian, and although Christian emperors celebrated wild beast hunts and gladiatorial games for a good 100 years. Eventually, Christian monks objected to the celebration of gladiatorial games, killing of other humans.
In 404 AD, a monk called Telemachus leapt into the arena of the Colosseum in an attempt to separate two gladiators. In a frenzy of outrage, the crowd tore him to death. But now the Roman elite had converted to Christianity, and within days, gladiatorial combat was banned by the Christian emperor Honorius. The slaughter of wild beasts continued for a century longer, but the signs of terminal decay were glaring. The correspondence of Quintus Symmachus, the prefect of Rome, reveals the sordid reality of the Colosseum's final years.
Now, at the very moment of the games, we're without bears. We have received some poor bear cubs, worn out and weary, and as for the lions, we won't speak about them. Our crocodiles are wasting away because they've been on a persistent hunger strike for 50 days. 2 of them, which are still breathing, we will keep until you come, although their refusal to eat does not guarantee that they will be able to survive for long.
Even the import of wild beasts was a luxury the impoverished empire could no longer afford. Indeed, the excesses of the Colosseum had driven many species to the point of extinction. The games that had been a celebration of Rome's power and glory now reflected its demise. They were underfunded, outdated, and at odds with the new Christian morality. In 410, Rome fell to barbarian invaders from the north, and the Colosseum fell with it. The People's Palace and the empire it had served proved to be as inseparable in their decline as they had been in their triumph. For the next 1,000 years, the Colosseum was plundered by successive generations of metal merchants and stonemasons. Yet these ghostly remains still fascinate us. They're a chilling epitaph to the Western world's greatest and most brutal empire. The memories of the Colosseum's spectacles and of the thousands who died here in the name of entertainment live on in our imagination.